This is Dr. Schroder with this week's video introduction to week number 6 of our class. And we're down to the final week. We're just about there. And you've come a long way. You've practiced a lot of new skills, come through a lot of technological challenges. And hopefully, I'm really hoping that by the end of this week, you will feel that you're well grounded and that you have at least many of the tools or the foundations that you're going to need to be successful to continue on the class. Week number 5 was you got to do something new or try some new technology where you did your first video recording. And each one of you had chosen your topic, developed your outline for your particular topic, and have been assigned to one of 6 different groups to go ahead and post your presentations into. The presentation should be done in audio with recorded audio using the instructions that I've posted. And those actually are due to be posted by tonight. So I'm actually reporting this recording on Sunday afternoon or late Sunday afternoon. And so you really got until tonight to go ahead and post those. The only place that you need to post those, I think that I still have directions that you would post them in both the assignments folder as well as the group folder, but really just a group folder is all that you really need to post them to. It's a bit of a change for me to go in and change the instructions that everywhere. As long as I have access to that video, that is what's most important. The problem is that if you have to upload it twice, one of the things that you've probably noticed is unless you've got really super fast internet, it takes a while to upload those suckers. It takes a while to get it up because it does take a lot of bandwidth. Your audio voice includes a lot of space that normal papers and whatnot don't have. So it's not uncommon for it to take 10, 15 minutes or even longer in some cases for it to upload, depending on how fast your internet speed is. If you are using a relatively slow internet connection, you might want to consider spending a few more dollars a month and getting a little bit of a faster connection, depending on who your providers are. This isn't so much an issue as it used to be for people. It used to be that, DSL was something that was kind of a upper echelon thing, and that a lot of people were getting by with just dial-up and regular modems. If you remember the day of modems and computers, then you're giving away your age probably. But most of the current computer systems, it's not really so much of an issue. But if you do have an older computer or an older internet plan where you're only maybe at like 5 megabits per second, that's kind of slow in today's world. And so that's going to run into those long upload times and sometimes streaming issues. If you have trouble streaming these videos on YouTube, it can run into issues there as well. So it's something that you might want to consider upgrading. But anyway, you only have to upload your presentation once, only to the correct form. Don't worry about putting it in the assignment form. If you've done so, don't worry about it. It does not have to go into Turnitin. The only thing that goes into Turnitin is anything in a written document, like a Word file that you would type into. But as long as you can go ahead and get that file uploaded with the audio to the correct presentation, then I'll be able to view it and I'll be able to go ahead and give you a grade on it later this week. Also, we talked about environmental care. Very nice discussion this week, and a lot of you had a lot of, really heartfelt thoughts. Or this is one that touched a certain emotional nerve with people. I think that we were able to really get in touch with this idea of what it means to look at an environment of care where we're looking at it from a completely holistic perspective, or from a truly holistic and a spiritual perspective. So this discussion of the scene environment and natural processes, and understanding that different people have different philosophies and different beliefs and understandings when it comes to these things. And so I think personally, my personal model, or my personal, I don't want to say opinion, it's not really an opinion, it's just my personal framework, is I like to try to find that center piece. Where's that place where we can all kind of sort of meet in the center? I come from specifically a Christian spiritual framework, but I work with a lot of people that come from a more Eastern philosophy, or come from a more secular way of looking at things. And so I don't necessarily really try to push my ideas or my personal beliefs on people necessarily, but I hope that my personal beliefs are reflected in my behaviors and my actions and how I interact with them. And so that might make people a little bit more soft to them. And I also try to understand other people from where they're coming from as well. So for myself, even though I do not personally, for example, believe in reincarnation, I work with and I've had patients that's their framework, that's their experience, that's how they look at birth and rebirth. And so even though I may not agree with that particularly, uh, I don't necessarily, I'm, open to that is, who am I to judge? Who am I to say? It's not my to judge whether that is a good belief or bad belief. And so it doesn't necessarily have to come from that particular framework. And so anyway, so that's kind of, one tangent that some of the discussions took this week. But that's really kind of where we're getting down to here is this, what is the environment that we're providing our care in? And when we have our differences, what are we, how do we address that? How do we confront that? How do we deal with that when it becomes part of who we are? And this is a discussion question that is really meant to be sort of a jumping off point also into nursing theory, because many of the nursing theories deal with this also. And so in your next course coming up that I'll be talking about in a few moments, that's going to be something that you're going to deal with as well. In week number 6, two tasks. You have 2 discussion questions and 1 paper due. And that's really all you've got left for the class. The discussion questions are fairly straightforward. The first one is on affecting change, effective communication. And change is something that you're going to talk about again when you get to your nursing leadership class. But we mention it now because it is something that is been mentioned by students over and over as something that this is the reason that they see themselves coming into a Bachelor's of Science nursing program. They want to be change agents. They want to be effective in helping to make the care and the practice in their hospitals and in their own personal lives the best. But it requires some training, and it requires planning, and it requires an expectation of resistance. And so that's what we're going to be talking about a little bit this week. Talking about effective communication, reflecting back on our previous discussions on communication, and then affecting change. And then finally, a discussion on our professional nursing organizations, where you're going to identify nursing organization, one that you think that you may be interested in. I have some tools for you to research those and then give some feedback on that. I encourage you all to identify and join with and become a member of a professional nursing organization. Fewer things will get you on the path to professional success more than a professional organization. Every job that I have had in nursing has not come through an internet search, and not come through looking at ads somewhere, or going to a website and putting it in a application. Every job that I've had, at least every job that I've had that is a step up, where it's been something that's been some sort of an advancement for me, has always come from the people I know. And those relationships that I've developed have almost always come through people and my friends and mentors and now mentees in that professional organization. So please look at those and see which ones may be one that you may be interested in. And of course, finally, we have our weekly reflection. Please review my feedback from your first paper. The feedback is in Turnitin. Look at the kind of comments that I gave on that first paper, because I'm going to be going through on your second paper. This is the paper where you're going to address the meeting, and you follow the meeting assignment and talk about the communication and the leadership styles that you observed in the meetings that you attended for this particular assignment. That paper will be due on Sunday night of class of this week. That will be 1 week from the day that I'm recording this. I'm recording this on the 2nd. So I believe that's the 9th is our last day of class. So all the papers need to be turned in by that Sunday night of the final week of class. If you review the syllabus, technically, anybody that does not have everything completed by that final night of class, you're technically in a incomplete status. You can't receive a grade until everything is completed. So note that if you are late on that last paper, technically it's incomplete. Notice that there is still a 10% deduction for each night that it is late. So if you do turn it in, I don't usually have my final grading for the class completed until that maybe about a week to 10 days after class. Usually it's about a week, up to 10 days before I get the final grades completed. So you wouldn't necessarily really be seeing that incomplete grade, but just know that if you don't have everything completed, you can't pass the class. So even if your points say that you would pass if you didn't complete something, if it's not completed, if I don't have it checked off, if you see it as a blank on your grade book, it means that it technically has not been done. I'll be going through and kind of sort of doing a sweep and making sure that I didn't miss anything as far as grading went, or anything that has been, that maybe was submitted late that I didn't actually catch up with the grading. I'll make sure that that is all completed by the end of this class, but please know that everything needs to be completed by that final Sunday of class. That final paper needs to be completed by that final night of class. If it needs to be late, please let me know. I will deal with you on a one-to-one basis, but you can't receive a grade for this class until that paper is actually done. Sometime this week, I would imagine by the end of the week, you should be receiving a syllabus for your next class, which is through RNRS 307, Nursing Theory, Theoretical Frameworks of Nursing. And so you should be receiving some information about that class, and we'll have that class open for you in Sakai as well. Normally you'll get an email from the instructor, or you'll be getting an email announcing that, and that should be sometime this week, and I don't know exactly what day of the week it's going to be, but this week that class will become available to you, and I will not be your instructor for that course. I will be your instructor, however, again, you'll see me at the end in RNRS 497 Nursing Ethics, the final night of the course, or the final class in the course, and possibly also for Evidence-Based Practice, which is another course that we are just starting and that I may be your instructor for. So anyway, I kind of gotten long in this video, longer than I wanted to. So I just pray with you and say, Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us together as a class. Thank you for bringing us to the end. Thank you for helping us to be successful. Thank you, Lord, for overseeing everything we do and helping us to gain new insights, gain new, gaining new knowledge and frameworks and way of looking at things. Excuse me. Be with us, Lord, for this last week. Be with us, keep us healthy, keep us safe, and thank you for all you do. As we pray in your holy name, amen. Before I go on a coughing jag, I will leave with that. God bless you. I look forward to seeing you in your next classes, and I'll see you in the discussion forums this week.